The wire cutters sit in his palm like they weigh more than the whole city. High noon presses down on the deserted square. Heat rises off the concrete. Sweat slides into his eyes and burns, but he does not blink. Somewhere in front of him, a timer is eating the last 10 seconds of the world, one number at a time. And the danger is not only the device. The danger is the old animal command inside the body: run. Most people believe they would become calm when the moment finally demanded it. But pressure does not create character. It reveals who has been training command before fear arrives. What do you do when every nerve in your body begs for survival, but your duty still has a hand on your shoulder? This is Fudoshin, not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear hold the wire cutters. A deserted city square is never truly silent. There is always something left behind after people run. A paper coffee cup rolling in a hot gust. A traffic light changing for cars that are no longer there. A storefront sign clicking against its metal chain. The square looks empty, but emptiness has a sound of its own, especially at high noon, when the sun leaves no shadows wide enough to hide in. The bomb tech hears all of it. He hears the faint buzz inside his headset. He hears his own breathing, too close and too loud. He hears sweat tapping off his chin onto the concrete near his knee. He can feel the wire cutters resting in his gloved hand, the handles slick from heat and pressure, the metal nose angled toward a decision that cannot be taken back. 10 seconds. Not 10 minutes to think. Not a quiet hour in a classroom with diagrams and procedure sheets. 10 seconds in a dead square with the sun in his eyes and the body beginning its oldest argument. Run. That command does not sound dramatic when it arrives. It sounds reasonable. It sounds like common sense. It sounds like the voice that says, "You have done enough. You warned them. You cleared the square. You have a family somewhere. You have a name. You have skin in this world. Move." And that is what makes it dangerous. The survival instinct is not evil. It is not weakness. It is the body doing what bodies were built to do. It tightens the ribs. It dries the mouth. It pulls the eyes toward distance, toward alleys, toward exits. It looks for open space. It argues for tomorrow. But in a high-stakes moment, the same instinct that protects a person can also take the steering wheel from him. The bomb tech has known fear before. He has felt it in training yards, in parking garages, in the back of a truck while another call came in before the last one had fully left his hands. Fear is not new to him. But this kind of fear has a sharper edge because it does not ask for comfort. It asks for permission to abandon the task. His right thumb presses into the handle of the wire cutters. It is not steady in the heroic way movies like to show. There is a small tremor there, almost too small to see. His jaw tightens hard enough that he feels it in his ear. Sweat stings his eyes again, and for half a second the square blurs. That half second is where many people lose themselves. Not because they are cowards. Because the mind under pressure starts bargaining faster than character can speak. It says, somebody else should be here. It says, the timing is impossible. It says, no one would blame you. The last one is the most seductive. No one would blame you. In that sentence, fear dresses itself as fairness. It gives the man an escape route that still lets him look decent in his own memory. And maybe he has earned that argument. Maybe there is an unread message on his phone back in the truck, something ordinary and human that has nothing to do with danger. A photo from a niece's birthday. A reminder about a late bill. A text from a friend saying, "Call me when you're off." The kind of small life that keeps existing while the square is emptied and the timer keeps counting down. He is not an idea kneeling there. He is not a statue of duty. He is a man with sweat in his eyes and a body that wants to continue being a body. That matters. Because samurai discipline does not begin by pretending fear is beneath you. That is theater. Real command begins when fear is fully present and still does not get the final vote. Fudoshin, in this moment, is not coldness. It is not a dead face. It is not some fantasy of a man who has outgrown his nervous system. The bomb tech is not less human because his hand stays near the device. He is more fully accountable for being human. The square gives him no applause for that. There are no cameras close enough to turn him into a symbol. No crowd chanting his name. No music swelling behind him. Just heat. Concrete. The faint electronic countdown. Sweat burning his vision. The wire cutters waiting for his hand to become honest. His shadow is simple, and because it is simple, it is powerful, the survival instinct to run. Not laziness. Not arrogance. Not anger. The deepest animal impulse under every polished uniform and every trained voice. The desire to get away from the thing that might end you. In everyday life, that same instinct wears quieter clothes. It shows up when a man avoids the hard conversation because his pride might take a hit. It shows up when a woman leaves the email unanswered because the consequence inside it feels too heavy. It shows up when someone walks away from responsibility and calls it peace, when really it was escape. Most of us never kneel in a deserted city square with 10 seconds on a timer, but we know the feeling of wanting distance from the moment that demands our full weight. The bomb tech does not get to rename running as wisdom. Not here. Not when others have trusted his training more than they trust their own panic. That is the cruelty and the dignity of duty. It does not wait until the heart feels clean. His training does not erase the urge to move. It gives him a structure strong enough to hold the urge without obeying it. The undisciplined reaction would be fast in the wrong direction. Eyes jumping. Breath breaking. Hand rushing because the mind cannot tolerate the countdown. The wire cutters would become an object of panic, not precision. The body would try to finish the moment simply to escape the feeling of being inside it. But the disciplined reaction narrows the world. Not into denial. Into sequence. He lets the square fall away from the center of his attention. The empty benches, the busted newspaper box, the white glare on the courthouse steps, the hot wind pushing grit along the curb, all of it remains, but it no longer commands the whole room inside his skull. He does not need the entire square. He needs his breath. He needs his hand. He needs the next true movement. The timer keeps counting. His eyes do not chase every possibility. They return to what is directly in front of him. The wire cutters are still there. Their weight has not changed. The heat has not changed. Fear has not packed up and left like a defeated enemy. But something quieter takes its seat. Procedure without panic. Attention without fantasy. Duty without performance. That is the lens of Fudoshin under high stakes. Emotion is allowed to exist, but not to become the commander. Fear can report information. It can say the danger is real. It can sharpen the senses. It can remind the body that life is precious. But the moment fear starts grabbing the wheel, the trained mind must take it back. The bomb tech understands something most people only learn after they have damaged a relationship, abandoned a responsibility, or reacted in a way they cannot fully defend later. The first impulse is not always the truest one. Sometimes the first impulse is only the loudest. The urge to run feels ancient because it is. It comes from a place older than language, older than duty, older than the uniform, older than the oath. It speaks in heat and muscle. It does not care about the people beyond the barricades. It does not care about the empty apartments above the square, the shop owner who will come back tomorrow if tomorrow is still available, the officer behind the perimeter whispering into a radio-like volume itself might disturb fate. Fear only cares about one body. Duty asks him to remember more than one. That does not make duty romantic. It makes duty heavy. It means the bomb tech is carrying invisible lives in the same hand that holds the wire cutters. Not in a grand speech. Not in a slogan. In a grip. In a breath. In the refusal to let panic make a private decision inside a public consequence. His body still wants to run. The square still burns. The sweat still stings. The timer is still unforgiving. And yet he stays inside the moment long enough to become useful. That is the confrontation at the heart of this story. Not man versus machine. Not courage versus danger. The real confrontation is command versus instinct, duty versus the body's demand for escape, Fudoshin versus the part of the mind that wants to survive at the cost of abandoning what it was trained to protect. The wire cutters do not make him brave. They reveal whether his fear has authority over his hand. Training does not begin when the fear goes away. It begins while the fear is still in the body, still loud, still making a strong argument. The bomb tech does not wait to feel brave. There is no time for that. High noon keeps pressing its white heat into the square. The timer keeps reducing the world. Sweat keeps burning the corners of his eyes. His body still wants the open street behind him. So the first act of training is not heroic. It is a pause. Not a long pause. Not hesitation. Just the smallest refusal to let panic move first. His hand stops tightening around the wire cutters. He notices the crush of his own grip, the way his fingers have started treating the tool like a lifeline instead of an instrument. He loosens 1 degree. Not enough to lose control. Just enough to remind the body that he is not wrestling the moment. He is entering it. That is the first gate of Fudoshin. Stop the first command before it becomes action. The first command says run. He does not argue with it. He does not insult it. He lets it speak and keeps his knees where they are. His left boot is flat against the concrete. His right knee is planted hard enough to feel the grit through the fabric. He brings his attention down into those 2 points of contact. Boot. Knee. Concrete. The square is too large, the consequence too large, the timer too sharp. But the ground under him is specific. The body can return to specific things. The wind pushes dust along the curb. He hears it. The headset gives a small static crackle. He hears that too. Then he brings the breath down, not into some perfect calm, but into something usable. One controlled inhale through the heat. One slower exhale through a dry mouth. The air tastes like metal and sun-baked stone. His chest does not become peaceful. It becomes less wild. That is enough. Under pressure, most people try to solve the whole fear at once. They want to become a different person in a single second. They want the trembling hand gone, the doubt gone, the image of escape gone. But Fudoshin is not a magic trick. It is a chain of small commands given in the right order. He does not need to defeat fear. He needs fear to stop reaching for his hand. The wire cutters rest across his palm. At the beginning of the moment, they felt like a question: will you survive this? Now he turns them back into what they are. A tool. Cold metal warmed by his glove. A familiar weight. Something built for a task, not a prophecy. He shifts the cutter slightly until the handle sits clean against the base of his fingers. The movement is small. A camera across the square might not even catch it. But inside him, it matters. Panic makes tools feel foreign. Discipline makes them familiar again. He looks at the timer without letting it become the whole world. 10 seconds can become a monster if the mind stares at it the wrong way. 10 seconds can also become sequence. Breath. Eyes. Hand. Check. Commit. He does not rush the count. Rushing would only be another form of running, dressed up as action. So he shrinks the battle. Not the city. Not the headlines. Not the imagined voices after the fact. Not the private life waiting somewhere beyond the barricade. Just this square inch of reality. This hand. This tool. This breath. This next trained movement that does not belong to fear. His eyes return to what training has taught them to see. Not everything. The next relevant thing. The mind wants to scatter into all possible endings. He refuses to follow it. He lets the outer square blur at the edges, the empty benches, the silent storefronts, the hard shine on the courthouse windows. They are there, but they are not the work. The work is closer. Sweat gathers again and slips toward his eye. The sting hits sharp. His face wants to flinch. The body wants to blink hard, wipe, curse, move away, do anything except remain inside a moment this narrow. He gives the body one clean instruction. Stay. Then he adjusts without drama. A controlled blink. A slight shift of his brow. No wasted movement. No anger at the sweat. No story about unfairness. Heat is part of the room now. The sting is information, not permission. That is the second gate: anchor the body in the present. The present is not comfortable. It is not safe in the emotional sense. It does not reward him for noticing it. But it is real, and reality is always more useful than imagination. Imagination shows him the blast of consequence without details he can act on. Reality shows him the wire cutters in his hand. Imagination shows him the street behind him. Reality shows him his boot still planted on concrete. Imagination says, you could still leave. Reality says, your hand is still here. A disciplined mind keeps choosing reality, especially when reality is harsh. He hears another second disappear. There is a strange cruelty in a countdown. It makes time visible. It gives panic a drumbeat. The untrained mind hears each number as a verdict. The trained mind hears it as a narrowing corridor. Less room for ego. Less room for fantasy. Less room for the body to debate what duty already knows. He lets the next exhale empty slowly. His shoulders drop half an inch. That small drop matters. Raised shoulders turn the neck into a cage. A locked jaw sends panic back into the skull. A hand held too tight begins to lose precision. So he releases what does not help. Not all tension. Some tension is needed. But the useless kind, the frantic kind, the kind that burns energy without serving the task, that he lets go. This is how training becomes ritual. Not ritual as decoration. Ritual as a path back to command. Feel the ground. Loosen the grip. Name the tool. Slow the breath. Shrink the task. Return the eyes. Each motion is quiet enough to miss, but together they build a wall fear cannot easily cross. Somewhere behind the perimeter, someone may be watching through heat shimmer, hoping he knows what he is doing. But hope is not what holds him together. Repetition does. The boring hours no one applauded. The drills that felt too slow. The instructors correcting his posture, his timing, his tendency to move before he had fully seen. The old discipline now arrives without ceremony because it was built before the square, before the heat, before the last 10 seconds. That is the part people misunderstand about calm under pressure. They think calm is a personality trait. It is usually a memory of practice stored in the body. The bomb tech has practiced returning to sequence when the mind wants to scatter. He has practiced treating tools with respect when adrenaline wants to turn them into weapons against fear. He has practiced listening to procedure when pride wants to improvise and terror wants to flee. Now the ritual is not separate from survival. It is the only way survival and duty can occupy the same body without tearing him in half. The wire cutters rise slightly. Not in a dramatic arc. Not like a movie pose. Just a measured movement through hot air. The urge to run surges one more time because the body knows commitment when it sees it. It knows that certain movements close certain doors. It knows that once the hand begins to act, escape becomes smaller. His throat tightens. For one ugly second, he can almost feel himself standing up, turning away, choosing the street. The image is clear enough to frighten him. Not the danger ahead, the part of him that could abandon it. So he does the next piece of training. He tells the truth without obeying it. I want to run. The sentence passes through him silently. No shame added. No performance. Just the fact. And once named, it loses some of its disguise. It is no longer wisdom. It is no longer fairness. It is no longer a noble argument about survival. It is simply the survival instinct asking for command. He does not give it command. His thumb settles. His breath narrows. The cutters remain steady enough for the next trained action. This is Shugyo inside Fudoshin, hardship made intelligent, pressure turned into sequence, fear held in the body without being allowed to govern the hand. Not suffering for its own sake. Not reckless courage. A disciplined return to the next correct movement when every animal part of the body is begging for distance. The square is still empty. The sun is still brutal. The timer is still almost gone. But now the bomb tech is no longer trying to escape the feeling of fear. He is using the final seconds to serve what fear cannot understand. The square does not become peaceful. That is the first honest thing about transformation. The heat does not soften because a man has found command. The timer does not slow out of respect. The sweat still cuts into his eyes. The empty buildings still stare down at him with blank windows, and the concrete beneath his knees still feels too hard, too bright, too exposed. Nothing outside him has been rescued yet. Only the inside has changed. The wire cutters move through the hot air with less trembling now, but not none. A slight tremor remains in the smallest muscles of his hand. His body is still trying to protect him. It is still sending its signals, still pulling toward escape, still measuring the distance to the street behind him. He does not hate that part of himself anymore. He just does not obey it. That is the difference. Before, the wire cutters felt like a verdict. Their weight seemed to ask whether he was willing to give up his own life for the duty in front of him. Now they feel like a boundary. A line between instinct and command. A small, physical proof that fear can be present without becoming the ruler of the hand. The countdown continues. Each second has less space inside it now. Less room for imagination. Less room for bargaining. Less room for the mind to create a future it cannot touch. His eyes stay where they need to stay. His breath is not calm in the easy sense, but it has a rhythm he can use. The jaw is still tight. The throat still dry. The heart still driving hard against his vest. But he is no longer scattered across the square. He is gathered. That is what Fudoshin looks like when it stops being a word and becomes a man kneeling in heat. Not a fearless man. Not a flawless man. A gathered man. A piece of paper scrapes across the pavement behind him. Earlier, that sound might have pulled his attention sideways. The mind under threat is hungry for exits, and every sound can become a reason to look away. Now he hears it and lets it pass. The paper is real. The sound is real. But it is not the task. The task is closer. The cutters settle into position with a care that has no drama in it. No grand speech rises in his mind. No sudden vision of honor. No clean heroic music. He is too busy being exact. He is too busy refusing to let the final seconds turn his hand into a servant of panic. This is where duty becomes strangely quiet. From far away, duty looks huge. It looks like sacrifice, oath, courage, all the heavy words people use after danger is over and they are safe enough to admire it. But inside the moment, duty is smaller than that. It is the next breath not wasted. The next inch not rushed. The next movement made without asking fear for approval. The survival instinct returns one more time. It comes sharper now, because commitment has a smell of finality. The body knows when a decision is approaching. It tightens around the old command: leave, move, save yourself, now. For a fraction of a second, the bomb tech sees the empty street in his mind. He sees himself running through the glare, boots hitting concrete, lungs tearing at the heat. He sees the sweet, ugly relief of distance. And underneath that relief, something worse, the knowledge that his body might survive while his honor would have to live with the empty place where duty was supposed to stand. That thought does not make him invincible. It makes him honest. He is afraid to die. Of course he is. A man who is not afraid to die does not understand the value of being alive. He has mornings he has not spent yet. Meals he has not eaten. Conversations he postponed because he thought there would be more ordinary days. The instinct to live is not an enemy. It is part of what makes duty costly. But duty over life does not mean life is worthless. It means some responsibilities are too sacred to abandon just because fear has become loud. The wire cutter's close in his grip. No technical lesson exists here. No instruction for danger. Only the human lesson: the hand can still serve the right thing while the body is begging for escape. The world tightens to one breath. Then another. For an instant, the whole square seems to hold its own lungs. The wind stops pushing the paper cup. The traffic light changes again for nobody. Somewhere behind the perimeter, a radio voice cuts off mid-sentence. Even the heat feels still. The bomb tech stays with the action until the action is complete. And then the moment does not explode into triumph. It opens into silence. Not soft silence. Not safe silence. A stunned, brittle silence, like the city is waiting to find out if it is allowed to continue. His hand remains where it is. His eyes do not immediately jump away. Training holds him there for one more breath, because panic can arrive after danger just as easily as before it. Then he exhales. It is not a victorious exhale. It is rough. Almost angry. Too human to be cinematic. His shoulders drop, and with them goes a little of the weight he had been holding without permission from his own body. The wire cutters are still in his hand. At the beginning, they were a question. In the middle, they became a tool. Now they are a witness. They have felt the tremor. They have felt the tightening grip. They have felt the moment when the body wanted to run and the mind chose sequence instead. They have no opinion about him. They do not call him brave. They do not forgive him. They simply prove that his hand stayed under command when command mattered. That is enough. The square begins to return in pieces. The storefronts. The glare. The empty benches. The dry smell of concrete. The sting in his eyes. His knee aching where it pressed into the ground. The world comes back not as a battlefield, but as a place that still needs care. He does not stand like a hero. He stands slowly, because the body has paid for those seconds. His legs feel less certain than he expected. One hand touches the side of his vest, not for drama, just to feel that he is still there. Still breathing. Still inside the day. The shadow has not disappeared. That matters. The next call could bring it back. A different square. A different heat. A different countdown. The body will still want to live. The street behind him will still look beautiful when fear points toward it. No amount of discipline deletes the animal inside the human being. But now the animal knows it does not sit alone in the command seat. Something else sits there too. Training. Duty. Breath. The quiet refusal to turn survival into the only God. And for the person watching from a safe distance, that is the uncomfortable lesson. Most of us do not face a timer in a deserted square. But we do face moments where escape feels reasonable. A responsibility becomes heavy. A promise becomes inconvenient. A hard truth arrives with a cost. The body says run, and the mind starts looking for a clean excuse. The bomb tech's transformation is not that he stopped wanting the street behind him. It is that he stopped treating the desire to run as an order. The wire cutters hang at his side now, no longer raised, no longer asking for precision. Their weight has changed again. They are just metal. But his hand is different around them. Not stronger in some dramatic way. More honest. Less owned by the first impulse. That is the victory Fudoshin offers. Not control over the world. Command over the next movement. Fear can still speak. But it does not get to move the hand. You may never kneel in a deserted city square with wire cutters in your hand. But you will meet your own countdown. It may come in a parking lot before a hard phone call. It may come at your kitchen table when the truth has to be said. It may come at work, When everyone else has stepped back and the responsibility is still lying there, waiting for someone steady enough to touch it. In that moment, the body may ask for escape before the mind asks for honor. So begin small. Feel your feet. Loosen your grip. Name the fear without making it king. Choose the next right action before you choose the easiest exit. And if this lesson belongs in your life, carry it quietly. Let the next pressure test you with less noise. Fear can speak, but it does not get to command.